Fantastic. I hope you're enjoying the morning as much as we are, or the afternoon now, wherever you are in the world, your evening even. We're going to move over to the last presentation for today, ladies and gentlemen. There is a bit of a change on the program. If you've been watching the online agenda, you'll know that we have one presenter for this session, not two. We were due to have Svetoslav Spasov, but due to an unforeseen technical event, he is unable to be with us live. But no worry, no fear. We will record his presentation separately and bring it to you later. But in the meantime, we're going to meet a man from ITCE, from Bulgaria, in fact. Dimitar Georgiev is going to be joining us. He's a senior and consultant with more than 15 years of experience in consulting with some of the world's largest enterprises in the field of orchestration and automation of IT services, also cloud solutions and IT security. And currently he's the training manager at ITCE, responsible for ensuring the continuous improvement of the training experience. Dimitar, good to have you with us, sir. Thank you for stepping in for your colleague as well. And we've now got you in the hot seat. How are you feeling? How are you doing?
Thank you, Marco. I'm feeling very good, but really, before I proceed further with my session, at the end of the event, I would like to thank you, Michael, for the great facilitation today. We are all happy to have you here. Dear all, we paid a significant attention to the relation between digital transformation, future of learning, and people. What is the recipe for the successful skills transformation? How to develop a learning culture? These are most questions discussed among C-level roles in many companies. Based on the McKinsey Global Survey in 2021, the urgency of addressing skill gaps is clear and more important than ever to do. Skill building is probably the best way to close those gaps. My name is Dimitar, partner and training manager at ITCE. And today we were supposed to deliver this presentation together with Svetoslav, managing director at KPMG IT Service. But unfortunately, as Michael mentioned, due to unforeseen events, Svetoslav is not able to participate. Our plan is to redeliver this success story for developing a learning culture in very near future. So please visit our ITC virtual booth to receive more information about the exact date. Well, before the pandemic, skilling programs were at an early stage in 2019. Now, most of the organizations have begun a skill transformation to support employees' skill building in a large scale. Research from LinkedIn shows that half of the today most in-demand skills weren't even on the list 3 years ago. As a result, there is a changed priority on the desire and ability to quickly grow, adapt skill set. So I believe it will be of a great value at the end of the event today if we collaborate all together and determine among this audience how can we create learning culture in our team or in our own organization. Now it's time to show the prepared Slido questions. So please join by scanning the QR code or using the hashtag C3event, as you see currently on your screens at slido.com. I'll give you just a few seconds to cover the delay for the live event. And my first question to you is, where do you think learning culture starts from? It was really difficult for me to prepare the possible answers, but I believe good options will be organizational level, team level, or personal level. We can see the results in real time. So to me, it looks very interesting. Some scholars view organizational learning as a process that unfolds over time and link it with knowledge acquisition and improved performance. However, studies show that people learn at best when they are supported by their team or by on-the-job experience and coaching by their peers. Nonetheless, many scholars say learning starts on individual level, where intrinsic motivation for development plays the biggest role. So if you want to create a culture of learning, you have to start with behavior change on individual level. So it's really difficult to say. So as you can see also in the results, we have most of the answers on personal level, so 60% personal level and 33% organizational level. They are still changing, but probably this is so interesting to see your opinion as well, because also what we have discussed preparing with Svetosłav for this presentation, we also discovered this as our own opinion, that probably the intrinsic motivation is really important, and the culture of learning probably should have a environment from organizational point of view, but it definitely starts at a personal level. So having these results, let's focus on organizational level for a few minutes. My next question is, what's most important when creating a learning culture? Is it leadership and top management support? Is it team level practices? Is it free access to learning resources, learning reward strategy, or formal learning and development strategy? Well, another critical driver of employee learning is what you as a manager or leader actually do. Accordingly, if you want to nurture your team's curiosity or unlock learning in your organization, you should practice what you preach. Start by displaying some learning and unlock your own curiosity. My advice would be, don't ask your employees to do what you don't yourself. Now I'm looking to the results, and I definitely see that the leadership support has most of the answers, somewhere almost 60%, and rest of the options are relatively equal. So if I relate this to the previous question, so probably it's ideal to start with personal motivation and have the leadership support. Just a short reminder here that we are recording all the sessions today, so we will be able to see these results from this great audience today later. Moving forward to the next question. So if up to now we were at organizational level, let's move now to more personal level. So what's most important on personal level? To be motivated to learn. First option is changing industry, technology trends, or maybe designated time for learning. The mentioned already intrinsic event, personal motivation, career development opportunities. Here I would like to share with you a report by Berzin that I read recently. They found that among more than 700 organizations, the average employee had only 24 minutes a week for formal learning. Well, I definitely believe that 24 minutes per week is probably not enough. And often managers are interested in boosting short-term results and performance, which can be an enemy of learning. Research found that companies who performed well at fostering learning culture perform better than the other competitors in terms of innovation levels, market position, employee reputation, and last but not least, employee performance. So looking at the results, what's most important on personal level, as a clear winner, I see the intrinsic motivation. So again, it's very interesting for me to see that among this audience right now, we definitely cover the mentioned the reports that we have from McKinsey, that we have from LinkedIn, etc. If I have to summarize what's most important when creating and maintaining a culture of learning, my advice would be don't rely only on formal strategies like learning and development strategy or processes, but combine them with a strong and long-lasting partnership with training organization and people-focused work, such as reinforcing positive learning behavior, rewarding curiosity, and for sure, this personal motivation. I have only one final question, and if you can use one word, what is your biggest takeaway from today? I really hope that the result of this final question will stay as a summary of the today's event. And I'll give you here a few seconds without giving you ideas, because it's really personal to see what each and every from this huge audience today have in mind as a biggest takeaway. I see many interesting words like digital transformation, change, learning strategy, innovation, even happiness, which is great. Maybe transformation is a clear word that we have for most of the answers. I'll give you a few more seconds just to cover the lack of the live event before proceeding further. In fact, I believe it will be great if I leave this question open for the next 5 to 10 minutes and not closing it right now. So we can proceed, but we will keep receiving these questions, and at the end in the recording, we will share the result. Thank you very much, and back to you, Michael.
Brilliant, Dimitar. Thank you very much indeed. That word cloud stuff is amazing. I really love it when we work with an app like Slido as well. Whilst those responses are coming back in, let me ask you a couple of questions, if I may. And of course, the questions do remain open over on the speaker area on the main platform itself as well. And you've got your own personal group in there where people can ask you any questions afterwards as well. I love the way you
Correct.
did mention. Let me just remind people of that Svetoslav's presentation will be recorded and will be made available to everyone who's a delegate as well. So you're not missing anything by only having one presenter rather than two presenters in this final slot today. Let's go to a couple of questions, though. We've got a little bit of time before we finish at the top of the hour. The first one, really, I'd like to ask you is, what do you think the role of training providers is in developing a learning culture?
Okay. Well, if I can explain this in one word, um, I would say value co-creation. But let me go in details. Today, modern training providers walk an extra mile in addition to training delivery. They work with customer to build training plans that follow the customer business strategy. These training plans should meet at the same time organizational needs and personal needs of the learners in terms of topic, modality, and flexibility. I can give two examples here from our business. For companies such as KPMG IT Service here in Bulgaria, we not only create learning plans that we build together with the customer, but we also deliver a variety of training activities like classic trainings. We do even do academies, custom trainings, certification boot camps, and more. On another hand, for companies where we engage with the whole agile transformation, we create a sequence of training events based on scaled agile framework transformation roadmap. That includes micro trainings, big room trainings, etc. And as a summary, I'll just use this term from ITIL 4, the so-called value co-creation, where we aim to build a mechanism of interplay and collaboration between service providers and customers, resulting in experienced value for the parties.
I love it. Thank you. Now, I hate using the word about the current crisis that we're in, so I have my squeezy little device here that means what I'm talking about. Since this crisis began, many organizations have raised the priority of skilling initiatives and activities. We've heard the benefits that have come through during this particular pandemic and this crisis. What are your thoughts on that, Dimitar?
Well, here I would refer to a McKinsey Building Workforce Skills report in 2021. They define three phases of skill transformation: scout, share, and shift. The first phase, scout, consists of rapid workforce planning to identify skill gaps based on business strategy and goals. The second phase, shape, focuses on how companies shape their skill strategy by finding the right mix of actions and deliver learning journeys to employees. And in the third phase, shift, involves skill building across the whole organization. I strongly believe that also learning providers play a significant role here in all three phases that I mentioned, and they should also be involved.
Excellent, thank you. And finally, if I can ask you this as well, your recommendations for a more structured approach overall.
Yes, so here today we really defined a big structure during the whole event, I believe. And all of the presenters shared different views for future of learning, for developing a learning culture of learning. And I would like here to refer again to a future recording of this presentation that we were not able to deliver here, where we'll give a real-world example in a case study.
Brilliant. I mean, thank you for summing that up so succinctly as well, Dimitar. It's been an absolute pleasure having you with us. on behalf of everybody in the audience as well, let me thank you for that. Has that Slido map changed any? Have you seen a little change there on the numbers? Can we show that quickly? Is it there still?
Yes, if we can show this, fantastic. We see the result. I still have the last question open. You can see the change. Transformation is the biggest takeaway from today. We also see change, innovation, happiness, and rest of the words you can read on yourself. So I think this is a great final visualization for the wonderful day we had together.
Absolutely brilliant. And you've summed that up perfectly as we come to the end of day one. So thank you very much indeed.